Did you know that Portugal is home to over 10 million people and has a coastline stretching more than 800 kilometers? Despite being a small country on the edge of Europe, Portugal has had a huge impact on the world. From the age of discovery to its modern-day success, Portugal's journey is filled with remarkable stories of exploration, empire building, and transformation. In this video, we'll explore how Portugal went from a small kingdom to one of the most influential empires in history and how it continues to thrive today. Let's dive in. In the 12th century, Portugal began its existence as a small Christian kingdom on the Iberian Peninsula. Its emergence followed the Reconquista, a long period in which Christian kingdoms reclaimed land from Muslim rule. By the middle of the 12th century, Portugal had secured its borders and established itself as an independent kingdom. With the Moors driven out, the Portuguese kings looked to the sea for their next great adventure. In 1415, Portugal embarked on its journey toward becoming a maritime power by capturing the city of Ceuta in North Africa. This marked the beginning of Portugal's empire-building era. But Portugal's ambitions weren't only about conquest. It sought to establish trade routes and expand its influence. The push for exploration led Portugal to the open seas, beginning a period that would redefine the country's role in the world. A crucial figure in Portugal's rise was Prince Henry the Navigator. Although he never sailed on the voyages himself, his leadership and vision were central to Portugal's exploration efforts. Prince Henry's support encouraged sailors to map the African coast, and under his guidance, Portugal began to explore the Atlantic. In 1419, the Madeira Islands were discovered, followed by the Azores in 1427. These discoveries laid the foundation for the establishment of new trade routes and overseas colonies, expanding Portugal's influence over vast regions. Under Prince Henry's direction, Portugal's exploration initiatives turned the country into a key player in world exploration. With newfound territories and trade routes, Portugal began to develop a presence that spanned continents, shaping the future of its empire and beyond. Portugal's major achievement came in 1488 when Bartolomeu Dias rounded the southern tip of Africa, opening a direct sea route to Asia. This was a game-changer for Portugal. With access to India's spice markets, Portugal bypassed the expensive overland trade routes controlled by Arabs and Venetians. Vasco da Gama, following Dias's route, reached India in 1497, cementing Portugal's place in global trade. Portugal's influence expanded across Asia, Southeast Asia, and into China and Japan. Portuguese ships established trade posts, forts, and colonies along coasts, trading spices, gold, and ivory. However, alongside these economic gains, Portugal's empire also became entangled in the transatlantic slave trade, an aspect that would forever impact its legacy. In 1494, Portugal and Spain signed the Treaty of Tordesillas, a pivotal agreement that divided the world into two spheres of influence. Portugal received control over the lands to the east of a demarcated line, which included Africa, Asia, and parts of South America. Spain took the west, which included the Americas. This division would drive Portugal's expansion into South America, where it would eventually establish one of its most valuable colonies, Brazil. Brazil, discovered by the Portuguese in 1500, became a focal point of the Portuguese Empire. Rich in resources, it shifted Portugal's focus from Asia to the profitable sugar plantations in South America. Brazil would go on to play a crucial role in Portugal's economic strength for centuries to come. Brazil's discovery in 1500 marked a turning point for the Portuguese Empire. Initially focused on Asian trade, the Portuguese turned their attention to Brazil, which proved rich in natural resources. The sugar trade quickly flourished, and the Portuguese began to develop the land to support large-scale sugar production. This industry became the backbone of Brazil's economy and, by extension, the empire. To work the sugar fields, Portugal brought in African slaves, marking the beginning of the brutal transatlantic slave trade. Over time, Brazil became the heart of the Portuguese Empire, with São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro emerging as vital centers of commerce. This development bolstered Portugal's dominance in global trade and made Brazil central to its empire's wealth. In the 17th century, Portugal began facing fierce competition from the Dutch, English, and French, all of whom were building their own empires. This created challenges for Portugal, particularly as its dominance in trade began to wane. Internal issues, such as the loss of overseas territories in Africa and Asia, further weakened Portugal's position. The most significant blow came in 1580 when King Philip II of Spain took control of Portugal, uniting the two crowns. This merger weakened Portugal's independence and its power, leaving it embroiled in wars with rival European nations, particularly the Dutch, who were keen on taking over Portuguese trade routes and colonies. In 1640, after 60 years of Spanish rule, Portugal regained its independence following the Portuguese Restoration War. King John IV restored the monarchy and began rebuilding Portugal's empire. However, much of its previous power was already lost, and the global trade landscape had changed, with other European powers like Britain and the Netherlands taking the lead. Portugal's empire could no longer regain its former glory, but the country's independence allowed it to shift focus and adapt to new realities, even as it continued to hold influence in global trade. Portugal saw a brief revival during the 18th century due to the discovery of gold in Brazil. This gold rush significantly boosted Portugal's economy, as it brought thousands of settlers to Brazil and contributed to the empire's wealth. But this resurgence was short-lived. In 1755, a devastating earthquake struck Lisbon, causing massive destruction and loss of life. Combined with the decline of the sugar industry, the gold rush's benefits soon faded, marking the beginning of the empire's decline. In 1807, Napoleon's invasion of Portugal forced the royal family to flee to Brazil. During the years that followed, Brazil became the center of the Portuguese Empire. In 1815, Brazil was made a kingdom, and its capital was moved from Lisbon to Rio de Janeiro. However, the royal presence in Brazil sparked a desire for independence among Brazilians, and by 1822, Brazil declared its independence from Portugal, marking the end of Portugal's empire. By the late 19th century, Portugal's empire was in sharp decline. Struggling to hold on to its remaining territories in Africa and Asia, Portugal's weakened position was exposed in 1890, when British interests clashed with Portugal's colonial expansion in Africa, leading to a humiliating defeat. In 1910, Portugal became a republic after the monarchy was overthrown, completing the decline of the Portuguese Empire and marking a new chapter in the country's history. The 20th century brought significant political change. Portugal participated in World War I, but by the 1920s, a military coup brought a right-wing regime to power. This dictatorship lasted for several decades until 1974, when the Carnation Revolution peacefully overthrew the regime. The revolution marked the start of a process of decolonization, with Angola and Mozambique gaining independence, followed by the handover of Macau to China in 1999. Today, Portugal is a modern country, known for its beautiful landscapes, rich cultural heritage, and thriving economy. As a member of the European Union, Portugal has seen significant growth, driven by industries like tourism, agriculture, and technology. Lisbon and Porto have become prominent hubs for tech startups, while the country leads the way in renewable energy, with nearly half of its electricity coming from sustainable sources. Portugal has made remarkable strides in improving its education and healthcare systems. It continues to honor its rich history while focusing on innovation and sustainability, making it a key player in Europe. From a small kingdom to a global empire, and now a modern country, Portugal's history is one of resilience, transformation, and adventure. Its legacy continues to influence the world, and as Portugal looks to the future, it remains a vibrant and important country on the global stage. If you enjoyed this journey through Portugal's history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Leave a comment below telling us which country you'd like us to explore next. Thanks for watching.